Hey there, millionaire authors. It's Lisa Vino, and I'm here with Becca Mysoor from Artemis Literary.
Hi.
And we're very excited. I'm here today to talk about one of my favorite subjects, delegating. I've been thinking a lot about delegating lately as we go into the latter half of the year. And I think, how do I do way less work?
Right, though? The less things to think about, the better.
Yeah, because then I free up creative time and space.
I
And
can think about other stuff.
I used to say I'm not organized. I'm actually very organized. I like lots of organized time to do nothing. I have lots of unstructured. I've organized around unstructured time. So I'm going to share 3 tips about delegating. And we're also going to be talking about Becca's new course offering that will help you delegate. It's really a course designed for personal assistants and author assistants and virtual assistants. And that dovetails with what we're talking about delegating, because as an author, I am not great at hiring. It's like a whole nother skill. So let me just jump into the tips. The first tip is delegate stuff that's easy to delegate. And the reality is that's probably going to be more in your personal life, like housework, grocery delivery, meal service, someone picks up your kids, nannies, daycare, pet service, yard work. All that said, whenever I give that tip, everyone's like, oh my God, I really just want someone to help me do my errands. Like, you're like, I want to cook my own.
I will do laundry forever.
Yeah, I don't want to do the other thing. So we'll just move right on because I get it. That is, yeah, really important. So the second tip is if you have delegated things before, if you might not think you're good at delegating because you try to delegate something and it didn't work. And that probably meant that you were delegating to the wrong person and it was someone you didn't really trust with the project, or the project was so important that you didn't quite delegate the right thing to the right person. And we've all done it. I've had to fire people. Someone stole my mailing list. I had to fire them, personal assistant. Yeah. But if you've ever gotten a cover done or had someone edit your book, you have delegated successfully. The reality is you delegated to a graphic designer who knew exactly what to do. And the same with an editor. And they delivered. And those are my favorite people to delegate to because I don't have to explain anything. I'm just like, here's this giant, here's the ideas. And I've only delegated to cover designers and editors who kind of know already what to do. And I don't have to train them. And I think this is where we run into issues as authors because we're owner operators. We figured a lot of stuff out to write a freaking book, multiple books a year often, and publish. Like, so we're publishers, marketers, and we do all this stuff. And then hiring people and being a boss is a completely different skill. And you're actually really good at it. Like,
I mean, I definitely feel like I've had to learn a lot because who just is like, I'll just open a new business. That seems smart. But it's fine because I have a great team. And I didn't always have a team that worked with me. And I think that's the big thing. Like delegating is also understanding how those people work, and also those people that you're delegating to understanding how you work and finding a very symbiotic relationship with that. So at first, was terrible delegator, just decided I didn't want to inconvenience anybody, even when I was paying them, and that I would just take it on myself. And now I have this incredible team that's like, hey, Becca, we saw your schedule. We're going to actually tackle these things that were on your list, or we're going to tackle these things and just so that you can have something to approve later. And if we did it wrong, like that's fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you.
I recently, so mostly I work with contractors, like, so this is like being a, medium level boss, like trying. So it's different projects and it's often just someone who knows exactly what to do with that project, like a translator or cover designer, as I mentioned. Renee found our awesome business manager, Kieran, and she's like one of those people who can figure it out and who will totally take stuff off our plate. And then also give us to-do lists, which is really nice. It's like we've hired a boss. So that's a very special person though. And I feel like when authors are like, I need someone to do my ads or email or help me just with some of this social media or all these different things, they're really looking for a personal assistant who knows the author world and can work virtually and is not going to nickel and dime them, but will also get it all done. But also there is a level of the personal assistant or virtual assistant knows what they're doing author wise, but also can ask the right questions to get your brand really nailed down. So they're sending stuff that's coherent, you know, if it's an email, it's not just, you know, not saying mean things to your email list. It's also like sending out the right logo, or do you have a logo and stuff like that. So let's talk. I think everyone listening is like, yes, please send me that person. So let's talk about Artemis and this course that you've put together for author assistants.
Yes. So I guess my job number one is like my main job, the job that keeps me in meetings where my team's like, your schedule was scary this week. Is I'm a developmental editor. Also my company's name is called Fairy Plot Mother. And which I'm like, I love a good pun. Okay. I love a good pun and I love some meaning in here. Which is also why I named Artemis what I did, because I was like, I have all of these friends and clients who just need somebody who's going to go like hunt down the answers. They're going to go hunt. They're going to go hunting and they're going to go figure it out. Because that is like what we really need. And I think the thing that I learned is not every person is best suited to be a specific kind of hunter, the way that like Kieran is, right? There's some people that do good with a specific set of tasks.
Yeah.
If they know what those tasks even remotely are. So I created a course, and this is our first course. I'm very proud of it, but it's a 101 course. And so the idea is that like your current assistant or your sister or, you know, your best friend who just wants to make, or favorite, you know, top fan reader who just wants to make a good part-time living can become an author assistant, but we wanted to give them the tools to really like know what that looks like, and how to traverse all different parts of that. So that could be from like having them even know that they should ask, is this the right logo when they're sending an email, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. That set of questions. And guys, I've looked over the course and it is very comprehensive. You say it's 101, but it really would get someone up and running as an author assistant.
Yeah.
Because it's like how to think about reader conferences, signings.
Yeah. And how do you
letters, branding, you know, book release, what's the checklist? What's the launch? And then it's for the author assistant. It's like, here are all the questions to send to the author so that you get it all right, so that it goes smoothly and you really are removing stuff off their plate. And that's tip 2, by the way, was really unclear. The tip 2 was like, delegating is a skill you can build.
Yes. And it is. And I think some of that, you know, our goals with Artemis were, if someone even understands how to run an ARC team in broad strokes, they can run it the way that you want them to.
Yeah.
Because they are already a little bit more aware. But if someone just says, oh, I can run an ARC team, but you don't know what they know, that makes it really hard. So we wanted to create that centralized space, because you can't delegate something if you don't trust that they have even a remote idea of what they're doing.
Right.
And it's so frustrating.
Yes.
Because you're like, okay, I could ask them to do it, but do I have to continuously follow up? Or do they understand that there's a process that we should meet once a week and I should get an update on every project that they're working on?
That sounds really organized and good. And that's in the course, like talk to the author about the meeting schedule. And that was really nice, because our business manager, Kieran, actually took the lead. She's like, okay, we're going to have a standing weekly meeting because I need to check in, because we have a lot of we have multiple businesses too. But yeah, I thought that was genius. And I have heard people say, you know, the top tip of delegating is you gotta actually let go. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not true, because if you care about your business and it's your baby, because you work incredibly hard on your books and everything. You're not going to trust someone with it unless they have the knowledge. And I don't think it's, oh, just let go. I think it's find the right person that you can trust and maybe build the trust. And that actually brings me to tip 3, which is, if possible, think of the whole project and break it down into smaller steps. I feel like in the course, you've already covered that, because it's like, here's the end goal is market your book. Well, here's the 5 different ways: newsletter, signings, launch, ads, all the things. And then within that are all these handouts and checklists and sheets and ideas and things to ask the author that the author is probably not thinking of, because
you already know intrinsically.
Well, and we don't know it in a way that's like written out. It's different to teach something than it is to do it. And that's what the skill is difficult. It's a different skill level. And I took a course on hiring as an entrepreneur, and the lady was like, listen, guys, people can read your mind if they write it down. And I honestly haven't gotten very far past that line in the course, because it made me so tired. I was like, I already write all the things. Do I have to also write like how to do an art team? Like, I don't even know where to start with that. Artemis has taken care of that. So delegate the training of your author assistant by sending them to this course.
Yeah. I mean, I really love it because it's a basics course. Like, don't get me wrong, but some people don't understand how to use Google Forms effectively or how to invoice for events effectively. And we put it all in there in a bunch of simple ways. And I think the hard thing is we don't want to slow down, right? I mean, Lee literally had this discussion with me before I hired my assistant. She was like, you've got to slow down, Becca. You're going to run into the wall. If you don't slow down, you're just not going to stop. And I was like, okay. Then I hired my assistant, Tori, and she's incredible. But I also had to trust her, right? And it is hard to trust your business to somebody else. And it is hard to be like, when somebody makes a mistake, to just be like, but I could have just done it better myself. And this is so annoying. And I think those are really valid concerns when it comes to hiring. However, I'm able to accomplish so many more things, even when some things are wrong or not what I really wanted. Just because
sorry, go on.
Oh no, you go. It's your turn now.
I'm like, oh, this is the other thing I learned from the course. She's like, delegating is like getting off your bicycle, getting into a Ferrari. And in that transition from the bicycle to the Ferrari, you'd be thinking, if I was still on the bike, I would be so much further down the road. But then you're in the Ferrari and you're like, oh, wait, now I can go way faster than the bike. So yeah, even with I think that the course though will help cut down on misunderstandings and mistakes, because there will be a foundation.
Yeah. I mean, the goal is, it's hard. You can teach people marketing. I think the thing is like, we want an assistant who knows how to market, understands branding, understands everything immediately with all of our life experience. And I have literally made that assumption for someone who works for me. And I was like, they can handle all of this. They know. No, they didn't.
No,
because I know a lot more things than I thought I did. But I hired somebody who's competent, who's learned those things and is so much better at them, because I took a little bit of time out of my day to explain to her what those things were. And she taught herself everything else. Like the Artemis website, she built it pretty much herself. She's never built a website like that before. She's just a competent person, and competent people can learn stuff, right? And you can also, like, the goal is, this is the basics, but we've had author assistants who are competent take it and they're already like ready to make their business more efficient using what they've learned. And so I think a lot of people want an assistant, but don't want to sit down and train them how to do the basics, because, well, they should just already know. But I think that falls into the same trap that I ended up in, and like, well, this person who works for me should already understand branding and marketing, shouldn't they? They're successful in this other industry. And like, the answer is that's not true, but they are already a competent person and I can trust them with these things. And it is always a learning curve, but giving somebody a knowledge base that I didn't have to spend time to teach them that is so valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Then nothing makes me more sad is when an author, because the reason we built this course is I polled all the authors, and the things that people were so frustrated about, which we talk about a lot in the course, is like communication. Your assistant just disappears and they're not communicating with you what the projects are. We talk about like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Right? Did they like your books even, or were they passionate, or were they just taking a paycheck? Like, we want people who take this course to work with people they're interested in and passionate about, that they want to support that business. They want to be proud of where they work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other stuff is like, they just didn't know anything. Right. And so we are constantly adding little pieces to our course, even now, on like what it really looks like to set up a newsletter template.
Mm-hmm.
Or here are a million different ideas for sending a newsletter every week, which is so valuable to send your newsletter once a week or at least once a month and keep that consistency. But I have so many friends who are like, oh, it's my release week, but I'll send my newsletter next week. I just don't have time right now. That's unacceptable to me. It's your new release. That is money in your pocket. You need
Yeah.
to be sending your newsletter out, and you should have somebody on your team who can help compensate while you're trying to focus on all of the other things that come with a new release, who can at least say, hey, I set up a draft of the newsletter for you if you want to take a look. Wouldn't that be a game
Yeah.
changer?
No, it is a game
And
changer.
that's why we need the course.
As someone who
And
has
that's why it's
that
cool.
person. Yeah. And
I'm very passionate about it. I don't know if you can tell.
no, it's awesome. I mean, if I was starting out building a team, I would be like, did you just take Artemis? And if you've taken it, let me know. And because there's a little
Get a little certification when they finish the course.
certification. So they probably already just going through the content, know way more about how to guide me to be a good author with, giving them what they need. And I don't have to think about that. I don't have to preempt it. They'll just be like, dude, I need your logo and all the links. And I mean, duh, but if your brain is full of stuff, then it's hard for you to parse that out.
Mhm.
So,
And I know the questions to ask too, right? Because it's like, I've hired somebody, but now what do I even delegate? Because I'm so used to doing everything by myself. They could say, do you want me to send a newsletter? Would you like me to be handling your social media? How would you like me to respond to these things? And having that initial meeting where you set up base tasks and you can start adding to them is so valuable and important, because then they at least know what to ask for. They at least have an idea of what you could be doing, and set it up of understanding what you would like them to be doing, how you would like them to be doing it. We talk about boundaries and expectations. They'll even ask you, how would you like to communicate? Would you like to communicate via Facebook Messenger, email, text messaging? What's the best way for me to contact you? When would you like me to contact you? Like, it's just, this world can be so beautifully complicated, mixing friendships and work and all of this stuff, that being able to have a place where we talk about like, here's how to set a boundary, and here's how to set an expectation. Here's how to follow through on that. Here's some questions to ask to help keep you being a self-starter, right? Where you can at least preempt the work that someone's going to ask you to do, or could ask you to do.
make it easy for me to hire you.
So every module they have to take, they have to answer a question. They can't just press play and speed through all the modules just to get that little certificate. So the certificate just says they've completed all the modules, and that's pretty much all that I know. But like, the people who have already taken it and finished it, and it hasn't even been out for 2 weeks, like, they're so stoked and they're ready to get to work. But I have author friends who literally bought the course for their assistant to take, even though they were already their assistant, just to give them fresh information. Because the course, we're going to close it on Monday, because we want to be able to like nurture those people and help ideally eventually match the people who finish the course with authors who are looking for assistance.
Which is nice. Yes.
And I don't think we're going to open the course again in its current state for like 6 more months, because we really want to spend the time to refine this course, but also as we build the next one, which involves the more personal stuff of like updating back matter and like, how do you upload to Draft to Digital, and how do you
Yes.
deal with ACX and audio and
All the things, formatting, translations.
yes.
So yay. Awesome. So yeah, that is Artemis, and I'm
We
excited
made it so you
that
can delegate.
we can delegate, and it will be easy, and we can delegate training someone to help us and someone that we can delegate to. So you said on Instagram, there are sneak peeks of the course, plus on the course page is the whole outline of what's in it.
Mhm.
Guys, I have gone through it myself, and I downloaded the handouts to be like, there's a
They're
goal
good handouts, man.
set these goals. And then of course it sits on my desktop, and I'm like, I need to tell my personal assistant to have me set these goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love is that we talk a lot about goal setting in there for on an individual level, but also on a business level. If like Lee and I sat down, I would be a terrible personal assistant. I have learned this about myself. However, if Lee and I sat down and I was like, what are your goals? What do we need to accomplish? Let's
Yeah.
break it down.
Yeah. No,
These
I
are
was
the
like,
things I'm going to do. This is what I need for you to accomplish that.
yeah. So yeah.
So will they be perfect? No, because nothing ever is. However,
Cut down on the miscommunication. It will cut
yes.
down on some of those pain points, and it's just refining from there and personal preferences. But I think that the groundwork was there. So yes, go check out the course. It closes on Monday. Today is Thursday. The clock is ticking. And delegate a thing.
Delegate it. You can do it.
You can do it, and you'll be so much happier. So signing off. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.